how do you feel like you get out of that bubble to make somebody a real boxer?
I mean, what he's doing is, I mean, kind of cool. If he can continue to steal money and they match him the way they match him, I can't knock his hustle. So if they can match him the way how they've been matching him.
I haven't seen Gervonta Davis in another sexual assault allegation, lawsuits incoming, potentially criminal charges levied. We don't know yet, but we know that fight is up in the air, and I think that fight's not going to happen, and they're going to either have to move the fight back or they're going to have to look to a replacement or both. I don't know.
This fight is still technically scheduled for November 14 to air on Netflix, but it's basically hanging on by a thread. But the team, Jake Paul's team, have reportedly gone and contacted all the fighters, and the names that they're looking at contacting to fight as a late replacement.
Floyd Mayweather has once again sent shockwaves through the boxing world after stepping forward to call out Jake Paul, right on the heels of Gervonta "Tank" Davis's fight being cancelled due to his ongoing legal troubles. In a move that no one saw coming, Mayweather announced that he's ready to face Jake Paul himself, and this time, he insists it wouldn't be another one of his famous exhibitions. He promised a real fight under true professional rules, making it clear that he won't wait around or adjust to anyone's terms. Floyd's statement instantly ignited a firestorm of reactions from fans and analysts alike. Many are questioning whether the boxing legend truly intends to step back into the ring after years of exhibition bouts, or whether this is Mayweather's way of reminding the world that he still runs the show. Whatever the motive, one thing is certain: Floyd Mayweather knows how to keep the spotlight exactly where he wants it, on himself.
But at the time, people badly wanted you and Jake Paul to fight. Is he someone you're interested in, or no?
Well, you know, if you go back, you got to do your homework, look on the internet. I think he was doing a sit down on a podcast one time, and he talked about it. He said, I don't want to do an exhibition against Floyd Mayweather. He said, I'm only doing real fights. And of course, I can't get up high in weight, but I'll fight him in a real fight at the weight that I'm at. But Jake Paul, I mean, as of right now, for what he's doing, it's good for what he's doing. But once he fights a real fighter, it's going to be bad.
Have you been impressed?
But one thing I like about him, one thing I do like about him, he's selling it. He's selling it, and he's making good money.
Following the lawsuit filed against Gervonta Davis and the ensuing investigation, Most Valuable Promotions, Jake Paul's promotional company, released an official statement confirming that Davis's highly anticipated exhibition fight has been cancelled. The company stated that, given the seriousness of the allegations and the active legal process, they could not proceed with the event under these circumstances. What was once billed as a massive spectacle for Netflix's boxing debut has now turned into one of the most controversial stories in combat sports this year.
The situation, he was supposed to be boxing Gervonta "Tank" Davis, a man that weighs 133 pounds or 135. Regardless, it's a man that is way smaller than Jake Paul. So that is just ridiculous, and I've given my thoughts on that before anyway. But now it turns out that Gervonta Davis has some allegations about domestic abuse. I don't know too much about the situation, but apparently Netflix have pulled the plug on that fight. It says, here's a tweet I'm reading from Mike Coppinger. As reported, Jake Paul's return could shift to December, with the November 14th Netflix exhibition in jeopardy due to the latest allegations against Gervonta Davis. Sources tell Ring magazine that December 12th and the 19th.
According to official reports, Gervonta Davis is now the subject of a civil lawsuit filed by his former girlfriend, Courtney Rossell, over an alleged incident on October 27th at a Miami nightclub where she works. The lawsuit accuses Davis of battery, aggravated battery, false imprisonment, kidnapping, and intentional infliction of emotional distress. Rossell's filing claims Davis dragged and assaulted her through multiple parts of the club, including the stairwell, the kitchen, and even the parking garage. Law enforcement in Miami Gardens has confirmed that an active criminal investigation is running parallel to the civil case, suggesting that Davis may be facing both legal and professional consequences in the weeks ahead.
Champion Gervonta "Tank" Davis faces new abuse claims from a woman who claims to be his ex-girlfriend. This is according to our media partner, the Baltimore Banner. Courtney Russell says she dated Davis for 5 months and recently filed a civil lawsuit accusing him of aggravated battery, false imprisonment, and other offenses. She claims Davis physically attacked her a number of times during their relationship. Russell claims the most recent incident was Monday at a Miami nightclub. Davis is scheduled to fight Jake Paul.
MMA veteran and analyst Chael Sonnen also weighed in on the situation. Sonnen revealed that he personally reached out to both Jake Paul's and Gervonta Davis's camps to get the truth about the rumored cancellation. According to him, both sides were unusually silent, refusing to confirm or deny anything. To Sonnen, that silence was the biggest sign that something serious was happening behind the scenes. He speculated that the issue wasn't simply about scheduling or promotional disagreements, but something far deeper, legal complications and behind-the-scenes tensions that neither side wanted to make public.
Tank has one job to do, which is to let anybody know that's listening that it doesn't make any difference, that boxing is a real sport. My skills versus your skills, of which I am an abundance of and of which you have none of. My life's commitment and dedication versus a second or third or fourth thought in the world of priority on your list. And I used to believe those things. Now, I go back far enough in MMA that I've had my eyes open a number of times. The fact that karate was so incredibly useless, or the fact that Jeet Kune Do was so incredibly useless, like these were not things that I would have bet on when I was in high school. As a wrestler at that time, I would not have assumed that I would fare well in a fight against somebody that knew Kung Fu. We had all been falsely led through Hollywood. Not through competition, not through sport, not through understanding of the game, but just through Hollywood. We were told that those guys were the most dangerous guys. So, we then eventually get up to Conor McGregor versus Floyd Mayweather, which had a weight discrepancy, but it was very small. I mean, I watched them weigh in, I want to say it was like 8.
With Tank Davis's fight now in complete jeopardy, Floyd Mayweather made his move, officially calling out Jake Paul. Mayweather has long been outspoken about Jake Paul's rise, often calling him entertaining, but not legitimate. While Floyd acknowledges Jake's success as a crossover star, he's been clear that he doesn't consider Paul a real boxer. In Floyd's words, fighting Jake Paul would be too easy. He believes Paul has built a fortune fighting opponents who are smaller, older, or far below elite boxing standards. Mayweather warned that once Jake steps into the ring with a true professional, not a retired MMA fighter or influencer, the world will see the difference between spectacle and skill.
There are many, many people who believe you're the most talented fighter ever, period. So whatever you say to this question, I think is important. Are you impressed? Does he have boxing ability, or is he just an entertainer who has a lot of fans and can promote a fight and has fought lesser opponents, or is he actually talented?
As long as he continues to fight MMA guys and YouTubers, he's gonna continue to look good and shine. But once he fights a real fighter, a real fighter that can really fight, it's not gonna be that good.
Does he have the ability, with what you've seen, to continue to mold himself into somebody who can actually? He told me before his goal is to fight Canelo, so that's, you know, where his mindset's at.
Mayweather's past reluctance to grant rematches has often left fans wondering about what could have been. Yet, when it comes to Jake Paul, Floyd's tone has been remarkably confident, almost dismissive. He's issued repeated cautions about Jake's pattern of choosing smaller or aging opponents, arguing that Paul has never tested himself against a world-class fighter in his prime. Despite acknowledging Jake's marketing genius and entertainment value, Mayweather maintains that once Paul faces a real fighter, the gap in experience will become painfully clear.
Question is just with like Logan Paul and then Jake Paul now fighting Mike soon in the summer, what do you think defines a real boxer? Because I feel like people are still confused on if Jake Paul is a YouTuber boxer or a real boxer. How do you feel like you get out of that bubble to make somebody a real boxer?
What he's doing is, I mean, kind of cool if he can continue to steal money and they match him the way they match him. I can't knock his hustle. So if they can match him the way how they've been matching him.
Analysts and former boxers have also praised Floyd Mayweather not only for his unmatched speed and defense but for his mindset. Former Olympic boxer Tony Jeffries pointed out that what truly made Floyd unbeatable wasn't just his physical skills, it was his unshakable belief that he could outthink and outlast anyone. His mental toughness, Jeffries said, allowed Mayweather to control a fight long before the first punch was thrown. That confidence, more than anything else, is what separated Floyd from everyone else and what could make his challenge to Jake Paul a psychological battle before it's even a physical one.
Really confident, they really believe in themselves, but you need more than that mindset. You need to have the full package of everything that I'm talking about what Floyd has got.
Fighters should only want to get better. The more you win, the more you should work hard. If you think about losing, you're going to lose. All I ever thought about was winning. So that's all I know.
Floyd would visualize his success before he even stepped into the ring. There was no alternative to him but winning. And this mindset isn't just for boxing, it's for all walks of life. And I've actually done a full video talking about how I used this mindset of visualization to win my Olympic medal. And it was an absolute game changer. Now, Floyd used to use this mindset to ease the pressure that he put himself under. And he made himself think like, I'm not under any pressure right now, where he was under immense pressure.
Pressure either makes you or break you. Well, you see where I'm at, so it's obvious that I'm the type of athlete or I'm the type of entertainer that can deal with pressure. There's never no pressure.
And if you watch his fight in 2013 when he fought Canelo Alvarez, Canelo came in a young, strong, undefeated fighter, but by round 2, Floyd kind of had him figured out. He was reading Canelo's jab. He would slip outside and then come back with a clean counter punch, then move his feet and get out of the way. He basically had the full fight under control, and he was controlling the full rhythm of the fight. He was forcing Canelo to fight at his pace. And this is what he would do in all of his fights. He would get his opponent to do what he wanted them to do without their opponent even realizing it, which is what we call boxing IQ. Now, even though I'm not a fan of Floyd Mayweather personally, because of the time when I did meet him, what he said to me made me just feel like this guy is a piece of shit. And
new reports now suggest that Floyd Mayweather is even exploring a potential comeback fight with Mike Tyson. While that may sound like a fantasy matchup, insiders say it's not just about money, it's about legacy. Analysts believe Mayweather's rumored interest in fighting Tyson reflects his desire to prove he still dominates the headlines, even in retirement. With Gervonta Davis and Jake Paul soaking up media attention, Floyd seems determined to reclaim his throne. Observers have called this classic Mayweather a man who refuses to let anyone, even his protege, steal his spotlight. For Floyd, relevance is power. And whether through business, headlines, or the ring itself, he's never been one to sit quietly on the sidelines.
Many celebrities and so many people that are known where you can get somebody and they can sell tickets to events. That's what kicked off the social media influence boxing that Jake Paul was birthed from. Now we're in a vacuum. And so there's going to be a lot of conversation about that and continuing to do that. In this particular video, though, I want to get into the mind of Floyd Mayweather Jr. and why Floyd Mayweather Jr. would do this. There is the money, but there's also the competitive nature of Floyd Mayweather Jr. and him not wanting to have other people think that they're a bigger star than he is. Floyd Mayweather Jr. has not been able to really launch his star outside of the sport of boxing, so he continues to do exhibitions. Now, what I think is that Floyd Mayweather Jr. is announced it at this point in time with Mike Tyson in order to take advantage of the publicity heading into the Gervonta Davis, Jake Paul fight, which is, I do believe, set for November. So now that they have all the publicity and all that stuff coming out from that, he's going to piggyback on it and then try to have it in the beginning of next year sometime and actually make it a bigger event than Gervonta versus Jake Paul. And it probably will be. And the reason that I say that is because of Mike Tyson. Mike Tyson is bigger than Floyd. Let me say Mike Tyson. I think Mike Tyson's bigger than Floyd Mayweather. I still think his name is bigger than Floyd Mayweather. Even though I know Floyd has made more money in the pay-per-views. And I think that had a lot to do with, again, social media area and otherwise. But the combination of Floyd Mayweather Jr. and Mike Tyson and the question about whether...
Meanwhile, Jake Paul's team at Most Valuable Promotions is already moving to keep their event alive. Multiple reports indicate that Jake's camp has begun reaching out to several high-profile fighters to replace Davis, and one name has turned heads: Terrence "Bud" Crawford. While negotiations are reportedly in the earliest stages, and nothing has been confirmed, the very idea of Crawford's involvement has sent shockwaves through the boxing community. Crawford is an undisputed champion and one of the best pound-for-pound fighters on the planet. If Jake's team can somehow make that fight happen, it would be the biggest leap of his career, transforming him from an entertainment boxer into a legitimate challenger. But as of now, Crawford hasn't signed or commented officially, leaving fans wondering whether this is a serious pursuit or simply clever marketing to keep the spotlight burning.
Technically scheduled for November 14 to air on Netflix, but it's basically hanging on by a thread. But the team, Jake Paul's team, have reportedly gone and contacted all the fighters, and the names that they're looking at contacting to fight as a late replacement: Ryan Garcia, Terrence Crawford, Francis Ngannou, I mean, come on, we'll get into them, and Nate Diaz. So he's already fought Nate Diaz, but let's go through them one by one. I mean, Ryan Garcia, he's a similar size to Gervonta Davis. He's bigger though. Davis made him come down, didn't he? Then he beat him up. So that was Ryan Garcia. Quite a bad loss for Garcia, that one, because he was up for the fight, but Gervonta Davis beat Garcia. Garcia also isn't really big enough to be jumping in with Jake Paul, but that's a fight that potentially could happen. Garcia is a massive name. He's a big he's a social media star. He's a big public figure. Loads of followers on Instagram and social. I mean, his Instagram's over 1 million, I'm sure it is. He's just a big name, good-looking kid, great fighter, fast hands, and he's quite controversial as well. So that'd be a good fight, but the weight disparity, again, it's too big. So for me, when I say it'd be a good fight, it'd be interesting to see how Ryan Garcia would go in against Jake Paul, but to be honest, Jake Paul's far too big for him. Who else we got? Terrence Crawford. I can't see Terrence Crawford entertained in this, but then you never know, do you? If the old bunts make sense, then it makes people do strange things, and Terrence Crawford's getting on now. What is he, 37, 38 years old? Had a great win against Canelo. Would he jump in with Jake Paul for mega money? Probably. He'd paced him as well. I mean, Terrence Crawford would be too much for Jake Paul, even though he's up at 168 in his last fight, super middleweight, my old weight division. So I don't think Jake Paul would fight him. Francis Ngannou, I mean, why even chuck Ngannou in the mix? Ngannou would just hammer him. He's too big. I mean, he talked about Anthony Joshua. That never happened, did it? It was a load of bollocks. He talked about fighting AJ, then announced he's fighting someone the size of one of AJ's legs in Gervonta Davis. So for me, that's nothing. And the Nate Diaz fight, he's already fought him. It was a rubbish.
Not everyone was thrilled about the original Jake Paul versus Tank Davis matchup. Former world champion Carl Froch blasted the fight from the beginning, calling it a rubbish bout that disrespects the sport. Froch argued that the skill gap between Jake and Tank was too large for it to be taken seriously. He dismissed Jake Paul as a celebrity boxer, not a genuine professional, and said that the fight was more about showmanship than sport. To Froch, boxing purists shouldn't be expected to treat such events with the same seriousness as legitimate championship fights. His blunt criticism sparked plenty of debate but also echoed the frustrations of traditional fans who believe celebrity boxing is watering down the sport's credibility.
Absolute clown world, really fitting for fake Paul, the clown, because it's a clown show. You're putting him in with somebody who's 100 pounds lighter. I mentioned the weight disparity before, getting on for 7 stone. It's a weight-governed sport. It should not be happening. He's too small, Gervonta Davis, against the big Jake Paul, who's in the gym a lot, training. Apparently he's fit and strong and he has a go and he can fight a little bit, which I disagree with, because I don't think he can. He might be able to fight a little bit, he certainly can't box. But these allegations against Gervonta Davis, they're very serious allegations. Anybody that's laying hands on women needs to be shut down straight away. They need to be, for me, they need to be locked.
Former world champion Amir Khan also voiced his disapproval, calling the proposed fight between Jake Paul and Gervonta Davis a dangerous mismatch. Khan said the weight difference alone made it unfair, pointing out that Jake Paul walks around at over 200 pounds, while Davis has never fought above 140. He even compared the idea to sending someone into the ring just to get hurt, accusing promoters of prioritizing money over fighter safety. Khan added that Davis might simply be looking to cash out and walk away from boxing altogether, a claim that, while controversial, reflected the growing skepticism surrounding the fight's legitimacy.
gets on my nerves a little bit. I think the way he looks himself, the way he acts, and I think he's just full of himself as well. And he thinks he can fight. And he's only been boxing for what, like a year. But he's been very lucky though. He has he's had some good wins against like MMA fighters. He's a little bit heavier than me, but I don't mind putting the pounds on. Just
even after the cancellation, many fans and critics remain divided. Some argue that there was no reason to call off the fight at all. They point to other athletes who have competed while facing ongoing investigations, saying that this was more about public image and corporate optics than any real concern for justice or ethics. These voices believe that if Tank Davis was still physically ready and willing to fight, the promoters should have allowed the event to go on, especially given the massive hype and financial investment already poured into it. On the other hand, others argue that the severity of the accusations made it impossible to proceed without backlash. Continuing the event, they say, would have been a PR disaster for both Jake Paul's brand and Netflix's first ever boxing broadcast.
Did Gervonta Davis's cancellation of his fight with Jake Paul, was it the right decision from Jake Paul and his team at Netflix? Did they make the right move to cancel the Gervonta Davis fight? I want to know y'all thoughts in the comment section. We'll probably do a longer video on this later, but I want y'all to interact and let me know y'all thoughts. Now that we know the fight is canceled, they announced it late yesterday while we were in the middle of our live stream. What is your thoughts? Do you think the fight should have been canceled? Smash the like button, subscribe to the channel. I'll see you.
And now, the boxing world finds itself at a crossroads. Should Floyd Mayweather really step in to fight Jake Paul and save the event? Or should the promoters wait until Gervonta Davis clears his name before moving forward? As opinions continue to pour in from fighters, fans, and industry experts, one thing is clear: this saga has evolved far beyond a single fight. It's now a reflection of the sport's struggle between legacy, entertainment, and moral responsibility. What do you think? Should Floyd take the spotlight once again, or should the boxing world wait for Davis to return and settle things properly? Let us know your thoughts below. This story is far from over.